Hi, this is Phil Hilfiger coming to you from Paris, France. I've decided to talk to you about signal flow in a practical setting. This is being presented as an assignment for Louden Stern's course Introduction to Music Production, assignment for week 3. So what we have here is a sketch of orchestral music I'm currently working on, working with virtual instruments at this stage. And I'm going to talk you through the signal flow, how this came about. So I'm going to let you listen to just a little bit so we know what we're talking about in more detail. It's a pretty string-heavy, slow-moving piece. Okay, so just to have an idea. What is happening here is that I'm using a Contact, which is a host for sample libraries, virtual instruments. I can pull that up right here, give you a quick look at that. So that's how Contact presents itself here within Reaper. And I have several instruments that I've loaded, mostly strings and percussion. In order to record the information for these virtual instruments, I used a MIDI keyboard by Prototype that is a USB MIDI keyboard that I plugged directly into my computer, and I recorded each individual track in MIDI data. So as a reminder, this is the piano roll that gives us a more closer look at how that MIDI data is presented. So I've got a track for each of the instruments that is performing, and I've recorded the MIDI data for each of these instruments. Then we have, once this MIDI data arrives within the DAW, it's going to be sending the instructions to Contact that's hosting the virtual instruments. And as an additional step, what I've done here is to route my Contact host program to audio tracks. So if you noticed earlier as I was playing back, the audio was actually coming out of these tracks right here, which are the audio tracks I've set up. This allows me to further edit and use effects, notably in terms of mixing the sound coming from the sampled instruments. So what we have on the one hand here is 3 separate audio tracks for each of the string instruments. I've got one for my percussion, and I've decided to create a submix for my string instruments so I could work with them more easily once I've set up a balance between them. Submixes are done very easily within Reaper. You can choose to just create a folder structure. Any given track can become a folder for or a parent for subsequent audio tracks, and this will allow me to have one fader that will raise or lower the volume for these 3 tracks together. So, for example, so that's how that works. And I can additionally use effects on just this submix track. Here I'm currently using an EQ, and I'm experimenting with a compressor at the same time. That will be applied to all 3 of my string tracks. I've also got an auxiliary bus going on, which is over here, a separate track. The benefit in Reaper is really that any track can become anything you like it to be. It can be an audio track, it can be a MIDI track, it can be an auxiliary track, like right here. So I set up this auxiliary track, and I'm feeding the different audio tracks into it. If I look at my settings in here, I see that I have a receive from my string submix, and I have a receive from my percussion track. So I can decide even at what level these elements will feed into the reverb track. And then, as is usually the case, I'm setting my reverb here at 100% wet, and am able to decide how much of that signal I want to bring to my master output. So I hope that gave you a couple of indications that are useful. Thanks a lot for checking this out, and have fun with the rest of the course. Bye.